ચાલુ છે. નમસ્તે નર वरती बघा ना. नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लाद लाद दायिने प्रह्लाद लाद दायिने हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कालकालये शीलटङ्कालकालये हितो हितो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यतोयामि ततो नरसिंह वाये नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह वाये नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह वाये नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह नरसिंह मदेव शरणं प्रपदि नरसिंह मदेव शरणं प्रपदि अवकर कमलवरे नाकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलित हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवद्रिता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय केशवद्रिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवद्रिता जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद नीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल सर्व भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्तराज श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा। यहाँ पर अभी अंग्रेजी में प्रवचन होगा भगवत गीता के ऊपर, तो जिस किसी को भी सुनना है यहाँ पे टेम्पल हॉल में बैठ सकते हैं, बाकी के लोग दर्शन के लिए लाइन में आके दर्शन लेके जा सकते हैं। हरे कृष्णा। सो नाउ देयर विल बी अ Bhagavad Gita class here in the temple hall. So those who want to listen, they can attend the class. Others, they can be in queue for the darshan. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. जय राधा माँ। हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे, हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल।
भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangriye. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 60. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manah. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Purport. There are many learned sages, philosophers and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses, but in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to the agitated mind. Even Vishwamitra, a great sage and perfect yogi, was misled by Menaka into sex enjoyment, although the yogi was endeavoring for sense control with severe types of penance and yoga practice. And of course, there are so many similar instances in the history of the world. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. Without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot cease such material engagements. A practical example is given by Sri Yamunacharya, a great saint and devotee, who says, Yat avadhi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde navanava rasa dhamnya udyatam rantum asita tat avadhi bata nari sangame smarayamane bhavati mukha vikaraha sushtu nishtivanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor. Whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. Krishna consciousness is such a transcendentally nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Maharaja Ambarisha also conquered a great yogi, Durvasa Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor, vachamsi vaikunta gunarunu varnane. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललितां श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome everybody to the Bhagavad Gita Sunday evening class at Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir, ISKCON Chowpatty. Today's verse is actually a continuation of the last verse. Last verse was verse number 59. Today is verse number 60. So what is verse number 59? It says, विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्ज्यं रसपस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते। थोड़ा वॉल्यूम कम करो थोड़ा। So what does it say? It says, though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Yani, the meaning of this is, one may artificially try to repress the senses and try to say, let me control my senses. But senses are not so easily controllable. That is what one has to understand. Like, supposing this fan, you want to put it off. A person who does not know the electrical circuit, he'll be wondering what to do to put off this fan. Should I take a stick and hold it like that so that the fan will not move? No, that is not the way. The simple answer is go to the switchboard and put it off. Operate the switch, stop the flow of current into the fan will not move anymore. It will stop. But one who knows the electrical circuit can do that. One who does not know, he is wondering what to do. That is our position in this world. We are victims of sense gratification. And we don't know how to control the senses. So the answer is given here. The answer is, the urge to control the senses is like a fierce dog. The dog begins to bark when a stranger comes into the house. So the stranger is afraid. What should I do now? This dog is very ferocious. It can harm me. But the answer is, if the owner of the dog says, please sit down, the dog will sit down. So this is how Maya is like the dog of the Lord. The Maya Shakti, the illusory energy of the Lord, is an obedient dog of the Lord. And if we approach the Lord and the Lord says, quiet, then we are no more troubled by the illusory energy. That is the answer. Daivi esha hi gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mame vaye prapadyante maya yetam tarantite. It's explained in another verse that this illusory potency, this Maya Shakti, is so powerful, but it is the Lord's own power. It is the external energy of the Lord. The Lord has three energies. The internal energy, which is the spiritual energy, the external energy, which is the material energy, and the borderline, or that is the intervening energy. Tatastha Shakti it is known as, the marginal energy. That is the living entities in this world. We are all living entities. So we can come under the influence of the spiritual energy, or we can come under the influence of the material energy. To give a more graphic example, there is a state known as Nepal. On one side is China, on the other side is India. Nepal has to align with the two countries. It is too small, but at the same time, people respect the sovereignty. But it has to tread a careful path. Should see that it should not be allowed to come under the influence of the negative energy, whatever it may be. So in the same way, the marginal energy has to protect itself from the material energy, which is the negative energy, and surrender to the spiritual energy, which is the energy of the internal energy of the Lord. In which case, the marginal energy will be protected by the spiritual energy. But if the marginal energy plays into the hands of the material energy, it will be overwhelmed. It will be beyond its control. It will be actually destroyed. That is what happens in the world. That is what we have to guard against. So that is what is being discussed over here. And what is the verse today? Today's verse, it is telling. The senses are so strong. What is the senses? The external energy. The sense objects, they are part of the external energy. The material objects which attract our senses, that is the material energy. That is the external energy of the Lord. The senses are so strong and impetus, and the senses actually fall prey to this attraction. To give a classic example, Rasgulla is very attractive. But a man is having diabetes. Should he eat the Rasgulla or should he not eat? He should not eat. But he is helplessly forced to eat it because he is unable to control his senses. People say, अरे वो खाने पे control नहीं रखता है, बीमार पड़ जाता है. People say like that, isn't it? So this is the case that is being discussed. The senses are so strong and impetus that they forcibly carry away the mind of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. What is this discrimination meaning here? Discrimination means the power of discrimination is to judge and distinguish between right and wrong, between favorable and unfavorable. So that is intelligence. It's actually referring to intelligence. Senses can be so strong, they can override the intelligence. That is what one has to be careful against. Actually, it's very interesting to know the internal structure of ourselves. When you drive a car, you're supposed to know something about the car. Of course, you have the steering wheel in your hand, you have the brake, the clutch and the accelerator, and all these other controls are there with you. But how does it work? Some knowledge is required. Exactly in the same way in the Gita, Krishna has given us the knowledge of how our internal mechanism is working. So what is this? Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya param mana manasastu para buddhir yo buddhir paratastu saha. The meaning of this is Indriya means the senses. Stronger than the senses are the sense objects. They can attract the senses so as to destroy the person. An alcoholic is attracted by alcohol. Even when the doctor tells him, you got to stop drinking or your liver will burst. You have got cirrhosis of the liver. But he is not able to control himself. And ultimately, he meets his end. He destroys himself. So that is what is the meaning. Indriyani parani ahur. The sense objects can be so powerful that they can overwhelm the senses. Indriyebhya param mana. But the mind has the capacity to control the senses. Mind is that interface between the senses and the intelligence. It comes between the senses and the intelligence. It can control the senses. It has the power to control the senses. Or rather, it is the controller of the senses. That is the role of the mind. But over and above the mind is the intelligence. Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya param mana. Manasastu para buddhir. Buddhi means intelligence. That is stronger than the mind. Example is, tomorrow is exam. And today the student is struggling. It is 1 o'clock in the night, he is still reading. And now he is feeling sleepy, he is dozing. The mind is telling him, Soja. Bahut ho gaya, Soja. But the intelligence is telling him, don't sleep. One night, overcome your sleep. Study, learn the answers, polish yourself. Whatever you have learned, polish it up once again, so that tomorrow you are fresh for the exam and you will be able to answer the questions in the proper way. So now it is a tussle between the intelligence and the mind. The mind wants to give in. Let me go and have some nice sleep. That is the function of the mind. Sankalpa, vikalpa, like and dislike. Like a child. Child will say, I want this biscuit. You give the biscuit, I don't want it. 1 minute it will say, I want the biscuit. You go and give the biscuit. No, I don't want this biscuit. Take it away. So mind is like that, immature. So that is why one of our brahmacharis very nicely has coined a line. Jo man ki sune, wo monkey. Monkey is also restless. Monkey, you cannot depend on the monkey. 1 minute में इस डाली पर, दूसरे मिनट में दूसरे डाली पर. So, mind has to be controlled, and intelligence is the controller of the mind. Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya param mana manasastu para buddhir. But what is above the intelligence? Yo buddhir paratastu saha. That means that is the soul. Your here reference to the soul, in reference to the earlier verse. So, soul is the one that is our true identity. We are not the body, we are the soul. So this soul, Atma, has the capacity to even direct the intelligence. But that is why we need to give strength to the soul. We need to nourish the soul. A weak soul cannot control the intelligence. So the soul has to be strong. But what will make the soul strong? Can you guess? What will make the soul strong? It needs food. The body needs food. So if you give food, the body is strong. What is the food for the soul? The food for the soul is the name of God. Why? Because soul is part and parcel of God. Mamaivam jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana ansha. Krishna describes the soul as ansha. Ansha means part and parcel, small fragment. So the soul is a fragment of God, and therefore it can derive its nourishment only in connection to the Lord. And name of God is non-different from God. That is the arrangement of the Lord. We cannot change it. We can give names to different material objects. You call this water. Here there is water. If I say water, water, will my thirst be satisfied? What should I do? Drink it. So the object water and the name water are different on the material platform. But on the spiritual platform, the name of God and God Himself are non-different. That is the difference between material and spiritual. We have to understand this, very important. So therefore we chant the name of God to strengthen the soul. When the soul is strong, it can control the intelligence. Intelligence also can be polluted by the illusory energy that is Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti can pollute the intelligence, can pollute the mind, can pollute the senses. But if the soul is strong, it can control and overcome the illusory energy. So this is how the internal mechanism of our structure works. So we should know this. And this is what is given in the Gita. And this knowledge cannot be given by the scientists. Why? Because who has made this body? The Lord. Only He knows His creation the best. Therefore, we have to turn to the Gita to understand ourselves so that we can act in a better way and we can save ourselves from any disaster. So, going ahead with the verse. There are many learned sages, philosophers and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses. The example is given of Vishwamitra Muni. You know the story of Vishwamitra Muni and Menaka? Very famous. Many know it. See, another way of making the intelligence sharp is to read the scriptures. Therefore, these stories which we read in the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Puranas, they are not useless. They are not a waste of time. When you read these stories, when you hear these stories, they drive home a point. Here the story of Vishwamitra is, Vishwamitra did tapasya for 60,000 years. You will think that this is fake. 60,000 years koi jita bhi hai kya? But please understand, the scriptures speak of not only our yuga, but they speak of all the 4 yugas. Vishwamitra Muni was in Satya Yuga. In Satya Yuga, the lifespan of a human being was 1 lakh years. So then what is the problem? So we should understand, that is why we should read the scriptures, we should understand the scriptures. Then we will be able to place things in the proper perspective. Otherwise, we will think it is only mythology. What is the meaning of mythology? False. That is what it means. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki. So Vishwamitra Muni did tapasya for 60,000 years. He did yogic practices, he did mind control, but Indra sent Menaka to disturb his penance because he was afraid that he may overtake him. And Menaka came and danced in front of him. The tinkle bells of her ankle bells, the tinkling of her ankle bells, it disturbed him. He broke his samadhi. He got up, he got attracted to her, and eventually he ended up enjoying sex life with her. And that is how Shakuntala was born. So you see, that is what is mentioned here, that even they are trying to control their senses, but they are not able to control their senses. So what is mentioned here? He is a man of discrimination. He was very intelligent, Vishwamitra Muni. But still his intelligence was overruled. And who is endeavoring to control them, it is not able to control them. So what is the solution? That is being discussed here. Here, it is said that therefore it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. Now you may wonder, oh, this is ISKCON, they are talking about Krishna consciousness. So they are converting everything to their favor. इसके लिए ऐसा लिख के दे दिया. It is not like that. Further, it is explained what is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. It is explained here. What is explained? Krishna consciousness is such a transcendentally nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. How? It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Supposing a man has had enough food, his stomach is full, Then you offer him rasgulla, what will he take it? Will not take it. Exactly in the same way, when sense objects are brought in front of a person, when the senses are hungry and the senses are not satisfied, they will go for the sense objects. So when a beautiful form of a woman is offered in front of a man, he wants to enjoy sex life, he will try to go and enjoy with her, especially when she is willing to offer herself to him. But then, how does he control his senses? By focusing, engaging his senses in the service of Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. The senses are given to us for us to maintain this body. It is a concession given. Sense gratification is a concession given to us for a particular purpose. It is not an open license to indulge in it without discrimination. That is the point. So therefore, when you begin to engage your senses in the service of the master of the senses, Krishna is the master of the senses. His name is Rishikesh. Rishika Isha, one who is the controller of the senses. He can control not only his own senses, he can control the senses of every living entity. That is why he is God. Therefore, when we pray to Krishna, when we engage our senses in his service, our senses become purified. Otherwise, I told you, the illusory energy, Maya Shakti, can pollute your senses, can pollute the sense organs, can pollute the mind, which is the controller of the senses, and can pollute the intelligence, which is the controller of the mind. It can go so deep. But if the soul, which can control the intelligence, is strong enough to overrule the polluted intelligence, then a person is safe. He will not fall a victim to these kind of temptations. That is the answer. So, one story we know, that is about Vishwamitra. I would like to share another one nice story. Those of you who are exposed to ISKCON, who have been reading this, attending lectures and hearing, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and all, I'm sure will be knowing the story or knowing the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How many of you in this class have not know much about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Please raise your hands. I was also like that. When I came new, I had not even known about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let me tell you, it's very interesting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna himself. But when did he appear? When did Krishna appear? When did Krishna exist? How many years back? Who knows? 5,000 years back. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years back. So 4,500 years back, after Krishna wound up his Leela in this world and went back to the spiritual world, he appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For what? As Krishna, he gave us the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita tells you, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yishyami ma shucha. 66th verse of the 18th chapter, towards the fag end of the Gita, Krishna tells, just give up all the other sarva dharman parityajya, give up all the other subsidiary dharmas. Just surrender unto me. That is the supreme dharma. So there are various dharmas a person has. When you are born as a male, you have Purusha dharma. When you are born as a female, you have a Stri dharma. So when you are a father, you have a Pitru dharma. When you are a mother, you have the Matru dharma. Like that. And every position, certain duties are assigned to you, and fulfilling those duties is your dharma. But he says, Sarva dharman parityaja, mam ekam sharanam raja. When you surrender unto me, understand, all the other dharmas are automatically satisfied. I will excuse you from any offenses that may arise, that you may not be able to perform your dharma because of your surrendering to me. I will take care of it. That is what he says. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. So this story about Haridas Thakur is very interesting. Haridas Thakur appeared along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because when the Lord comes, he brings his entire entourage. When the president goes, when the prime minister goes, he doesn't go one person. Along with him, so many go. The crowd controlling authority, like, the security, so many others are there. And the advisors and the secretaries, so many different departments, the head of the different departments, they all travel along with him. Even the business entourage, they will also go along with him. So, in the same way, when the Lord comes, Supreme Lord is Krishna, and when he comes, along with him come Brahma, Mahesh, all of them, they come along with him. So Brahma incarnated as Haridas Thakur. But he came in a different role. He came as a devotee, and he was born in a Mohammedan family. Because he had said, let me be very insignificant. I don't want a prominent position. I am fed up of being a celebrity. Let me be an unnoticeable person. So he came as born in a Mohammedan family, but he started chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So there was a problem there. People of the Mohammedan community opposed him. Why are you chanting another religious name? And people of the Brahminical community, they said, he is from another community. How can he chant these names? So this way, he was caught between the crossfire. So he wanted to be that kind of an insignificant person. So this Haridas Thakur was relentlessly chanting the holy name, and he had such a taste for chanting the holy name that, as I told you, people became envious of him. So there was one person known as Ramchandra Khan. He was a local zamindar in the area known as Benapole, which is in East Bengal today, that is Bangladesh. So he was in that area. So mind you, what I am talking to you is historical. It's not just mythological. Don't think like that. Something that is from the, Puranas or something. And by the way, that word mythology does not apply because it is a misnomer. All the things that we are discussing, Mahabharata, Ramayana, they are all real. They are never imaginary or fake. So, Haridas Thakur, he was there, and this Ramchandra Khan, who was the local zamindar, was very envious of him. He was envious because why are people giving so much importance to an insignificant person who is just a mendicant? Just because he is chanting the names, why are they celebrating him so much? I am the zamindar. I deserve to be more honored than all these people. So what he did, he said, let me defame him. So he called some prostitutes and told them, I am giving you a contract. Just entangle this man in your net, and I will expose him. I will send my bodyguards, and when he comes and engages with you ladies, then he will be exposed and he will be punished. So that will be the end of Haridas Thakur. So he hatched a plot like that. And among the prostitutes, they selected one of the most beautiful girls who was young and very, very attractive, and she took up the challenge and she told this Lokan Zamindar, give me 3 days time. I will trap him, I will have a union with him, and then after I have had a union with him, then he will be within my clutches, then your police can escort me, and then afterwards he will be exposed. So she goes and sits in front of Haridas Thakur in the forest. He is in seclusion, he is staying in a cottage, and he has planted a tulsi plant, and he is chanting with great attention. And the vow he has taken is, I am going to chant 3 lakh names of the Lord. So he is fully engrossed in his chanting. So she comes and she says, oh, you are so young and beautiful, and I am also endowed with such beauty and grace. I think we should unite. So please accept my request. Saintly people always fulfill the desires of all the people. So I have come with my kind of a request. So please step down from your lofty position and come and unite with me so that I get that satisfaction and I will be fulfilled. My life will be fulfilled. So she comes in that guise. She offers obeisances to Tulsi Maharani, she offers obeisances to Haridas Thakur, and she gives this kind of a request. So it is a very challenging situation for a man who is so much deep into spirituality. So he tells her, I will surely fulfill your request. But I have one condition. I have taken a vow to chant 3 lakh names of the Lord. So let me do my part of the duty first, and then I will come to you and I will enjoy with you. I will give you enjoyment. Don't worry. But you sit here and hear me while I chant. So she sits and she begins to hear. The whole night passes away, now it is daytime. So she gets up and she goes away. And she reports to her master, who has paid for it. So the next day she says, don't worry, he has promised that he will come and enjoy with me. So just wait for the next day. Let him finish his chanting. The next day comes. Again he is engrossed in his chanting, and again next day she gets up. The third day comes. That is the 3 days is the time he has asked. Give me 3 days time. She has also given 3 days time over there. Contract. I will complete my contract and you can pay me after that. Now the third day comes. Third day again Haridas Thakur is chanting. The night is over. And he tells her, I am very sorry. But the prescribed number of rounds I was not able to complete. So let me, get it off my heart. मेरा burden को उतारने दो मुझे. Then I can freely enjoy with you. Don't worry. But this third night what happens is, because she is hearing him and he is not an ordinary person, he is a pure devotee of the Lord, there is a change of mind in her. I told you, the illusory energy, Maya Shakti, takes seat in the senses, in the mind, in the intelligence. Now, by continuously hearing this, her soul has become purified. And soul, when it is strong, the name of Lord is food for the soul. So when she has been hearing these names, what has happened is a change of attitude comes in her. Her desire for sense engagement is now overcome, and now she is purified and she is attracted by the name of the Lord. The reverse has happened in her case now. And then she falls at the feet of Haridas Thakur and confesses for what purpose she had come and who had sent her. Pura Pol Khol Diya. She was from Benapol. So, now Haridas Thakur tells her, actually I knew the whole thing. How did he know? They are great personalities. They can read the mind of the people who come to them. So he said, I knew the whole thing. I knew that Ramchandra Khan is very envious of me. He has sent you. But why did I stay back? I could have gone the very first day. I could have not met you and I could have gone away. Why did I stay back? Because I wanted to rescue you. I wanted to save you from this vulgar profession in which you are engaged. I want to purify you. That is why I stayed back. Now, do one thing. Chant the holy names of the Lord, and whatever you have earned by these wrong means, give it away and charity to all the Brahmanas. Do not keep it with you. And come and stay here in this ashram and sit in front of Tulsi Maharani and chant and surrender yourself to the Lord. You don't worry, you will be taken care of. That is, in other words, surrender to the Lord Himself. This is what He is advising her. Now, her attitude has fully changed. She fully accepts every word of what He says. Now she has become His disciple. So there are some few verses which is very beautiful to hear. In that sense, Nirantara nama lavo kar tulasi sevana achirata pabe tabe krishnera charana. This is what he is telling her. Continuously chant the holy names, serve Tulsi Maharani, and very soon you will find the lotus feet of the Lord and you will be sheltered by the lotus feet. Eta boli tare nama upadesha kari Uthiya chalila Thakur bali hari hari. After giving her this advice, what does he do? He is giving her the Nama Upadesh. He is initiating her into the holy name. And then what does he do? Uthiya chalila Thakur. he gets up and starts walking away, and he is chanting Hari, 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 and he is going away. Then what does she do? Matha mudi eka vastre rahila se yi ghare ratri dine tiner lakshana me grihane karna. Then what does she do? She shaves her head. She just wears one cloth on her body, and day and night she is chanting the holy name. You may wonder, does she not feel hungry? How can she manage like this? That is the power of the holy name. When a person surrenders, the Lord takes care of the person. With our intelligence, we take care of our body. But the Lord, with His mercy, He takes care of the soul and the body. That is the difference. Tulasi sevana kare charvana upavasa Indriya damana haila premera prakasha. This is a very important verse. What does it say? She worshipped the tulsi plant following in the footsteps of her spiritual master, that is Haridas Thakur. Instead of eating regularly, she chewed whatever food she received as alms. Somebody came and donated something. She ate. And if nothing was supplied, she fasted. This is sense control. Now her senses are fully in her control. Now she is not afraid of fasting. She conquered her senses. Symptoms of love of Godhead appeared in her person. When you are able to overcome your senses, the love of Godhead which is there inside our heart, it actually emerges out. It comes out. It is actually covered by your desire for sense gratification. When that desire is shamana. Shamana means what? Satisfied. So when a hungry person's senses are satisfied by nutritious food, so when you are given the holy name, which is nutritious food, then what happens? All the craving of the senses is automatically satisfied. Such a person is able to self-control, control the senses. Such a person is known as Goswami. And don't think it is difficult for us to do it. Haridas Thakur did it, that lady did it, who am I? No, the process works for each one of us. We need not chant 3 lakh names. We are not expected to do that. We are told to chant only 16 rounds. That takes only 2 hours. Only 2 hours in a day. We need to attentively chant the holy name. That is the prescription for us, the living entities in Kali Yuga. So God is also fully aware of our situation. He will not tell us, go and catch the moon. Chand tare tod ke lana. He will not tell us like that. He will only tell us what is within our reach. He is only giving us those kind of instructions. We only need to follow that with faith. That is required. Faith in the scriptures is most important. And when we develop that faith, and how do we develop that faith? By regularly hearing the scriptures. When you regularly hear the scriptures, your intelligence becomes sharp. And then what happens? The pollution of the intelligence, the pollution of the mind, the pollution of the senses is overcome. You are purified from inside, and ultimately you become self-controlled. So that is what is mentioned in today's verse. What is mentioned here? They carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So senses are very strong, but what is the way to control the senses? Is to engage your senses in the service of Krishna, who is the controller of the senses, not only of himself, he can control everybody's senses. But he is only waiting. So what has he done in this world? In this world, we have come for a specific purpose. You know what? This is not our original home. That is why it is said, suppose you go on a world tour and you travel, you spend a lot of money. At the end of the whole travel, when you come back to your own home, how do you feel? Satisfied, nice, relieved? Go east, go west, home is the best. Right? Why? You may have five-star comforts outside. You may have the best of food. You may have the best of facilities. But even if your house does not command all those things, even then your own home is the place where you feel relaxed. So we are not belonging to this place. This is the material world. We are spiritual souls. So our home is the home of God. We have come from His place. We have come from His abode. And therefore, no matter what you do in this world, you can never be happy. Like a fish, when it is removed from the water, can it be happy? When it is back into its elements, the water, then it will be happy. Similarly, we can be happy when we are in the spiritual world. And therefore, Krishna says, come back to Godhead or go back to Godhead. That is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. So we don't have to permanently remain here, but here we are here for a short duration. He has given us an allowance. That is why I said sense gratification is a concession, it is not a license. You cannot gratify your senses permanently or unlimitedly because your senses cannot take that much. It has got a limitation. It is given for a particular purpose because we want to enjoy separately from the Lord, not serve the Lord. Therefore He says, okay, take a small vacation, go and come back. So when we are here, we should therefore remember that ultimately our goal is to go back to Godhead, to the abode of God, to be back with Him. He is our mother, He is our father, and that is our true home. So we have to go to home sweet home. That is the goal of human life. So therefore, and how do we achieve that? Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, your pathway back home is cleared. All the obstacles on that path, the Lord will remove for you and let you sail smooth through. That is the simple solution for this particular problem. So we are not overwhelmed. We only need to surrender to the will of the Lord. We only need to surrender to the will of the Lord, and everything else He will take care. What is our present situation? Supposing we feel the present situation is not conducive for me to practice spirituality. It is because of our past desires. We desired in the past to enjoy the material world, so Lord made it convenient for us to enjoy the material world. He gave us all material facilities. And now these material facilities are attracting us, so we feel that a lot of distraction is there for me. But when you have a desire, when you purify your desire, with purified desire, when you pray to the Lord, Lord, let me take my spiritual life seriously, then He will make those circumstances available in your life. And then you will find that the going becomes easy. So this is the simple solution. We have to start with our desires. Let the desires not fall into the material realm. Let the desires be directed to the spiritual world. And that way we can perfect our life. So I think I will stop here. So if there are any questions or clarifications, we can take it. Or otherwise, I think we should get ready to go and attend the Kirtan now. The Kirtan party, they will be coming very shortly. They can come here. So if there are any questions or anything that anybody has to say or ask, you're free to. Remember, spirituality is not to deny all your desires. It's not like that. That sometimes people feel, whatever we feel we want to do, immediately these people say, don't do that. Ye mat karo, wo mat karo. It is not like that. There are do's and there are don'ts. So when you follow the do's, and you avoid the don'ts, then you will be relieved of your disease. When you go to the doctor, what does the doctor say? He says, take this tablet, but if you are having a cold, don't take ice cream. Why? Because that will intensify your cold. So you take the medicine which will overcome your cold, but do not go and again indulge in the same things which will intensify your cold. So in the same way, in this material world, we have come here to reawaken our love for God. And when we reawaken our love for God, then to serve God becomes a natural habit. You don't have to struggle to serve God. Because when the mother loves the child, she serves the child relentlessly. She doesn't have to make an effort to serve the child. That service to the child comes as a natural flow for her. In fact, you cannot stop her from serving the child. In the same way, when you love God, you cannot be stopped from chanting His holy name. That attraction for chanting is actually inspired by love. It is not inspired by fear. Arey, if I don't chant, I will get sin. ऐसा नहीं है. God is not threatening you with a gun on your head, Better love me, otherwise I'll shoot you. It's not. He doesn't want that kind of a love. That is why He has given us full freedom, complete freedom. If you want, you can practice. If you don't want, you can indulge. He gives you both the choice. But the consequences you have to pay. That is the only solution. That is the only problem. Therefore, when we are suffering in this world because of so many karmic reactions we have to face, because of the sinful activities we have committed, because of the over sense gratification we have done, therefore now we have to awaken to the truth of our existence and understand our relationship with the Lord and fortify that relationship, develop it nicely, and go ahead. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.